right, welcome back, everybody, to the Fake Friends podcast. We are rocking with episode 14 today. Before we describe a little bit of the conversation we just had, please, in the link in the description, click on the link tree. Is that what it is? The link tree?
Yeah, link tree.
Link tree. It's going to pull you up to all of our social media, our album on Spotify, Apple Music. And come follow us, check us out. But yeah, man, what's up? We had a great conversation with a longtime friend.
Yeah. Enjoyable. Really appreciated it. He's always fun to talk to. Has been for 10 years. Every time you talk to him, nothing but laughs. So creative, real creative. Always known that. You know, he did. I don't even think we talked about it, but he did our first artwork, very first one. He's the first one we hit up to do Used to Know. He's the very first one. That's right. Yes, I can't believe we didn't think of that, dude. I know. He did.
We'll have him back on.
We'll have him back on. Like I said, we got to get the whole Notice crew, you know? Hopefully Kenny watches this. Hopefully Q watches this. And then we'll have them all three sitting up there. Talk about Notice.
Yeah, we're going to have a big...
And how they gave... Didn't they give... we got to let them tell the story.
We don't even tell... We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah. We'll let them explain the story. But this is a great episode. We'll get into it and hope y'all enjoy.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Wow, what's up, dude? What's going on, Sam?
Not much, guys. Been a long time coming.
Oh yeah, way too long. What?
You guys both back east still? I mean, as you're not back east, stuff, but
no.
Yeah, I'm back east. I'm on the East Coast. I moved back 2014. I've been here since. What about yourself? Where you at these days?
I'm still in New York, in East Village, Manhattan. I'm in Arizona right now. My dad's retired, so we had like a retirement party today.
Dad just retired, huh?
Yeah. Fucking no more free flights. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I haven't had them in a minute, but it's crazy. So
that's a perk. It's a perk.
It's definitely a perk. So tell me about this podcast you guys do now. What's up with you?
Well, we are on it, for one. This is it right here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We figure we put something together. We have we talk on the phone pretty much every other day, almost every day, about things, about life, about the world, about music, sports, movies, anything. And so we just figured we turn our phone conversations into a podcast conversation, put it out.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
We know some people. We have some friends. We have some good conversation with friends. We talk to a lot of people. Bring them on here. Catch up with them.
Nice.
So that's kind of where we at with it. And then it's just, overall brand and everything else, music, content.
You guys still been making music on that side of things?
Absolutely.
Like,
put an album out. Album out last, was it May? I think it was May or June.
No. It was, God, yeah, maybe it was. Shit.
Yeah, I think it was summertime. We put an album out in summer.
This year, time is flying so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we put a little mini two EPs out last year in the summertime, and then we put a full length album out this year. So,
what it was. Yeah, it was just like you said, we're just having combos, and we're like, man, let's just fucking record this shit, and we'll just do our own thing and incorporate it and intertwine it with music and just continue to do our own thing and see how it grows. You know what I mean? And like, we have friends and people that have done things with similar industries and other industries. So we'll have them on. We'll just have a conversation and see what happens. But it'll be fun. So
that's it, guys. Yeah. For whatever. I got my first producer credit, by the way. You guys will be proud of me. Not main producer, just a little additional producer credit. But I got on the Spotify credits. Writer boys.
Shit. For who?
The kid Alex that I manage. I executive produce the project, but then I was arranging additional production back and did little things where I'm I hear it, but I just can't actually play it out.
Like that snare. Yeah, you're like that snare. Remove that.
Yeah, just change the sound or put a rim shot there instead and add reverb. I know all the things and I hear it. I just don't know how to I don't know how to use the DAW itself. Yeah. It's kind of like the OG way of producing of sitting in the back and being able to steer the car sort of. So
talk a little bit about managing an artist and how you kind of delved into that and got started with that. And I'm only asking that because we were just talking and we were like, yo, remember Samm? like 2011, he sent us like some unreleased tracks of Shawn Mendes.
Yeah. You sent us his single that no one heard yet. And I was like, who the fuck's Shawn Mendes and how does he have this? And then like a month or so later, it came out and blew up. I was like, wow, Sam fucking had that record.
I mean, I remember like on the way to baseball practice and stuff, like we'd be like playing each other things. And I just remember like there's so much stuff I was listening to back then. I was like, damn, I was so early. Remember when I found the tweet? I like tweeted you in 2012, Jared, and I said, yo, check out this guy, Young Thug.
Yeah,
I was like, the name is like cliche as fuck. I was like, I know because like I remember hearing that. I'm like, bro, that's like the most cliche name of all time, like Young Thug. Like, okay, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, Jared, you gotta check that shit. And that's when I really like. I never really knew that I had like an ear, whether it was like the making stuff or the managing side of things or like whatever. And then like as I like got more and more into this and through managing and through all that other shit, and then like having A&R friends and like being early on records before them, and then being like, damn, like how the what? And I was able to trace it all the way back to that Thug tweet every time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even remember how early I was on Thug.
No, you were early because you found that Stoner song. That was out.
No, I found it before Stoner.
But it was before Stoner. I remember.
Yeah, I came from nothing too.
Yeah, but you still like. I remember you showed me all of his music, and it was before he was like bubbling, and then I moved home, and I was like, wait a minute, you guys think Young Thug's hot? Like I remember hearing this. Yeah, it was just funny. Yeah.
It's so funny because like, yeah, man, I don't know how I like got into shit. Like I've always like enjoyed the music stuff, but never like I was telling you, like been like I played saxophone in 6th grade and shit. But so then like doing creative and stuff was fun. And I just sort of like, I was creative directing for that kid, Alex, and like he had no manager at the time. And I was like, well, damn, I'm already talking to the label every day. And I just want to help you get this music out. So I might as well just like, what's talking to your lawyer and like 2 more people that I'm like not talking to. Because I'm already talking to the project manager. I'm already talking to like the A&R people around like timelines, dates. I was like, what's it that much more to just like step in and like build a wall?
How long you been doing that? Yeah, like managing him or kind of, I guess, unofficially managing some other artists in their projects
like
also.
Fake unofficially managing, like not managing, but there's just like young kids that I would find and I fuck with, and I'm always just like, yo, let me send you beat packs, let me like get you in sessions, let me get you opens. Like it costs nothing for me to like text you guys or text somebody else or text whoever and like send somebody a song or send somebody a beat pack or like ask for a beat pack. Like we all do the same thing, and it's like it sort of just like started there, and then so I kind of was like teasing managing, and I was never really like thought I was gonna get into it because I don't love it, to be honest. My brain doesn't really work like that. Some days I feel like I need a manager for myself. Like even with my assistant, I'm like, damn, I need somebody to like do all this shit.
Yeah, I hit this kid up, and I'm like, yo, you want to get on Friday? Yeah, let me check on my assistant. And I was like, I've never been big league by anybody before like that.
Right. It just like allows me to like not have to think about like normal human things, right? Like I can just like be in the headspace to make things all day. Or like,
I get it especially from a creative standpoint. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, how do I balance my life to be a still like big creator artist standpoint, but then also like have to turn the other side of my brain on in the morning and like call the label and yell at some people and call the lawyer and yell at some more people and call like shake hands, kiss babies, like. So I don't know. I don't think I'm like managed forever. I think my ultimate goal would be to find somebody to like partner with. It's like really good at this stuff. And I'm like, I know how to like be an artist whisperer of sorts and like get them to do things and like have the conversations and like the actual creation process. But I'm like, I don't need to be like talking to a booking agent. I don't need to be talking to like, like find somebody to like help grow that and scale up. So I'm like, if I can use my brain to put towards other things and like, sure, I'll chop off some commission to somebody so that they can do what they're good at, which means that I can do like what I'm doing better. That shit.
What
go ahead.
Yeah, so what's it like managing this artist in terms of like your relationship, how you met, and does it make it easier, like your relationship, being able to help him like develop his music? Like talk about more.
I met him, so his name is Alex. His brother is Dominic Fike. I don't know if you guys have heard of or not. But I was working with Dom, and he was like, yo, I have a little brother that makes music. He was signed to this label who like my friend works for, and one thing just sort of like, I don't know, like I said, it all just sort of like happened and fell into place. But yeah, I think me being able, like coming at everything from an artist side of things first, I'm like the artistry is first. I guess we have to make money and we have to do business, but like, I don't need to make money off you. Like I make money off my design stuff right now. So like, I'm not pressed to like raise some stupid check just to like, whatever. Like I'd rather give you money out of my pocket, cover you, and be like, let's just hold out so we don't got to rush into something that's going to be like, so we can get better terms, or we can do this, or we can, you know what I mean? It just like allows for that. And I think through that is like where like it helps on the music side of things too, where like he listens to my opinion, or I'll tell him no, or I'll like let him tell me no. And I'm like, ultimately, dude, like this is your music. Like I'm not the one that made it. I get that you're doing, like I have a different perspective. We'll go back and forth. There's one of the songs on this project that came out that like I went back and forth with him on the arrangement of it for like so long. And he finally just like let me win and like gave in to me. Cause I was just trying to move the second hook up so that the second hook came in before you hit a minute in the song. Cause I'm like, it just has a crazy pop like chorus. And like, we need this second thing to hook. I don't need you to put 2 bridges and then that one. Like it just, whatever. Got him to agree to it. Then Zane Lowe premiered the record. And so like through like the little things like that, it like builds a trust. And he's like, okay, maybe it wasn't exactly how I imagined it, but like you're hearing it from a different perspective. And like, it's just some like, I mean, as artists, like we all get in our heads, right? Like we're so close to something, and you like, especially like musicians, like these records he's been holding on to for a year. And it's like, as you make new things for your next stuff, now you like hate the old stuff and you want to like switch it out. And so I think just being able to have those conversations with him where it's like, I know just like to make something and look at it every day and then hate it 2 days later, but have to have it still come out. So like how it's just like perspective is not making him feel forced in it in the way that some like more business-minded people are like, no, it's this. Like we just, it doesn't matter because we're doing it for the music. It's like, yes, but we're looking at it bigger than that.
Yeah, there's a more authentic or organic kind of feel to your relationship. So then that trust to, I guess, manage artist relation, you know, the trust factor is there for you to have those more creative conversations in terms of other situations that are kind of more business related. And, you know, I do the creative side, you just do the business side. And I think that ultimately when you are bouncing ideas off each other, that's one of the reasons me and Jared work so well together is because we bounce ideas off each other and then it's to get like a final product instead of just kind of having one vision, you know?
I mean, I love to work with people versus like working alone. Like I prefer to work with people, whether it's like somebody at my same level or like one the little homies and tap them in. Like it just doesn't matter. There's just something about having people, even like shorty distance stuff with. I also manage a photographer now too. And so even like I'll just like send her stuff sometimes and just get like her perspective on it from like whatever. Like if I'm going through photos, so like why wouldn't I send it to a photographer and like get their opinion? And so just like having, like you said, those people around you to help.
So prior
I think a lot of people
go ahead
real quick. Like I think a lot of people also kind of mistake like experience and knowledge on something for that they're not good enough to do something, because like you said, I'll work with anybody too. Like one of my friends, he had no, he's kind of like yourself, like no experience of really writing music, but just had an ear because he listened to like certain genres so much. So he knew what sounded good. And he was around me when I was producing some of our records off our latest album that came out. And he helped to be like, oh yeah, you should arrange it like this, or like maybe do it like this. I'm listening. I'm like, yeah, it makes a lot of fucking sense. So like he might not like understand how to create a foundation and maybe write some melodies and do other shit, but just understanding the structure of a song, that makes a fucking, you know.
Yeah, well, I think there's something too, like us as creatives, like we like are able to interpret and understand things, right? Like I could send you guys a cover and get your thoughts on it, and like you could like never be able to do it, but like that doesn't, like there's a trust there because like you understand the process, or you might see it and be like, what if you approached it differently? Like I couldn't do it. It's the same thing when I'm in the room with the producer, be like, look, bro, I couldn't even pretend to tell you. I'm like, I might not even be describing it right, but like, it's something about like, if we do this and then like pick it back up and like.
That's nothing new though. You know, that form of that form of producing is like, that's nothing new.
No, exactly. But it's just like not traditional to like the younger kids right now.
Yeah.
But even so, it's like finding friends and partners that like are down. Like I have homies that like, we did a session with Alex and like, he saw me like just sitting in the corner writing with him. And Alex is weird about like having people write with him. And I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to like big man you or whatever. Like I was just down to there to sit you and let you like sing your thing to me. And then we'll chip in and like can help you like write the word or like whatever. And so even through the process of like this producer Doc, he's like, bro, I'd love to have you just like come sit in sessions, be a fly on the wall in the back corner, like same thing you're doing. And then, you know, it's like somebody has an idea and they ask you and you're like, got your things ready to go. It's just like a fun way of like, real time learning.
I think ultimately creatives, you know, true creatives who want to get an ultimate vision out or an ultimate idea out, they want to be surrounded by creatives so that it's not, you know, so it's not so tunnel visioned or secluded. You want to have a room of 5, you know, I'm putting a number out there, 5 to 10 people to bounce a single bar off of, because somebody might have
real.
Yeah, there's multiple perspectives that give you ideas on how you want to phrase a bar, or how you want to arrange a certain part of a record that just allows for the ultimate vision to kind of be, executed and separated from everything else.
I think it was the same other, it's like you're setting up a photo shoot and like, then it's like somebody that might not be the art director, but is like, whatever. I've had the post producer on set be like, yo, look, and you're like, oh my God, like, yes, thank you for saying
absolutely.
Something. Bro, there's no ego on my side. Like, as long as it turns out good, like, I don't care if it's like, I did it with you or I did it with 7 people. Like, I don't even care. It's about like making sure that whatever we're putting out, we're proud of. And like,
one thing I noticed too about that also is it doesn't even have to be people that consider themselves creatives. You just, as a creative person, you just kind of want to have input from any type of alternative perspective to your own.
That's exactly what it's really just about, people with the perspective.
That then sparks your creative. So like, a creative understands that anybody who's creating any type of content, art, they understand like, hey, how do you see? I mean, it's no different than getting other people's opinions. Like you create something and then you're like, hey, tell me what you see here. And then that opinion alone might spark a completely different vision for you. And so understanding that and having it a part of the creative process is, I think, where you kind of get some special stuff at for, anybody, honestly. I think it's very rare that you have one person doing everything and the art is immaculate, because it's too, close-minded in the sense of creative process.
Yeah, I feel like you're just like limiting yourself off to try and be like, oh, I did it all. Like, okay, but like, or you can't throw a complete game every time.
No,
Nor do you want to, because you're going to end up with an elbow like Giannis.
Yeah, so
17 surgeries later. Like,
absolutely.
And that's just not fun. I'm trying to go like throw 7 innings, go sit on the bench for 2, like go let somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's a together thing. I don't know. I think baseball helped me learn so quick. Like, there's just no ego in any of this shit, because like, it's not just on you. Like, I could do everything I need to get a ground ball and like Babbitt bobbles it or something. And then like, now my double play's gone and like, whatever.
Like, no, it's true, though, like, the creative process is way more fun when you're doing with other people. It's always way more fun. I've always had way more fun writing records or making whatever while I'm with someone, or then I do it by myself. And I can still have fun by myself, getting in my zone, locking in, doing it's whatever. Different. But it's way more fun. There's less pressure because you're just going with the flow. You're like, we'll just see where it goes. You know what I mean?
But that does require, that definitely, like you said, that requires, there's no egos present in that process, because you can't have an idea and somebody be like, hey, let's try this, or I think like this. And if your ego's present, you take it personal, and then it puts blocks on all of the whole creative process. You just can't have that if you want to get anything accomplished.
Yeah. So it's fun. And also like those things where you like put yourself in situations where like me in a studio or you guys, whoever, like you're like learning, even it just gives me perspective on like watching people's process of like how they record. And like, I remember there was a session I went to one time, it was like Joey Badass in 24 hours, and like 24 hours sat right down and like spent an hour and a half, like cutting his thing, like chopping it, like piece by piece, cutting it in and like putting it together that way, like line by line punching. Mm-hmm. Joey sits in the corner that whole time with headphones on and writes the whole shit. 24 hours done. Joey gets up, records it twice, leaves. And like, versus 24 hours, 200 takes. And it was like really interesting to think like, okay, that's 2 completely different ways to go about this process of like their verse. And like neither of those processes is wrong. So like, what if now I take my approach designing and I go piece by piece tonight instead of like sitting in the corner and going like that. And it's like, I wouldn't have thought about like such a dramatic switch up in a process on a project if I hadn't just like seen people work literally the exact opposite way.
Yeah. And the process.
I remember Joey literally could have gotten away with the first take and left. He's like, I want to fix like 1 bar. I was like, that's crazy. Like you just sat in the corner and then just popped out and like, bah.
So speaking of your designs too, kind of like where that started for you, because I remember, I think it was 2012. I think you told B that you were taking like an internship, and you were leaving. You weren't playing. I think you weren't playing that year because you're taking an internship, and then like since then, I don't think you ever stepped back on a baseball field.
Well, no, I mean there was that. So the doctor was like, you want to walk when you're 40, or like play 2 more years.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I had the Def Jam internship.
That's right.
And B was like, well, if you would take the internship, I'm taking your scholarship. And I was like, all right, peace.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm trying to walk when I'm older anyways.
But I mean, ultimately, like how the opportunity to go intern at Def Jam doesn't just roll around, So and kind of
that was crazy though, because I started with a Twitter DM, bro. I just DM'd some dude and I was like, bro, can I come intern for you? He's like,
and where'd that start?
Like I literally just DM'd. I just DM'd him on Twitter. Like there's 3 messages and I was like, yo, like how do I intern at Def Jam? And he's like, we haven't had an intern in 6 years, but like I fuck with your stuff. Like let me put you on email with our assistant. Paperwork started going like it made no sense. So like this
closed mouths don't get fed. Bro. They don't get fed. I mean, like you were proactive.
Yeah, I was so proactive in college.
Yeah,
like just.
And so that went from what just graphic design at Def Jam to working at Adidas.
Yeah, so the Def Jam thing, and then.
Well, I'll say this. All I know is before I moved back home in 2014.
You said what?
All I know is you actually before I moved back home in 2014, you invited me to a G-Eazy show at like the Fillmore, and I didn't know who he was, and his first album wasn't even out yet. But I remember showing up because you did the
logo and the merch. Yeah,
you did the logo, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Yeah, I'll come through and check it out. And I remember we were talking to like Super Duper Kyle backstage. And I'm like, this kid's cool. And he wasn't anything at the time. And, you know, he's doing his thing now. But I remember like being at that show and I was like, wait, you did work for this dude? I'm like, I don't know him. But that whole place was sold out and everyone was singing his songs. And then boom, G-Eazy. But yeah, that was crazy. How'd that come about?
They like hit me up on Behance. Because like G's whole thing is like about putting people in the community on. And so like going to school in San Francisco and like my bio on Behance was like San Francisco. And so he's like, oh shit, like you're like in the Bay, like I want to tap you in. And then like it just kind of like opened the doors from there. And it's just like his creative director Gabe, I've just been like super locked in. Then we worked super well together. And G's like, again, one of those people, like he's not a designer, but has such an eye for detail that like I'll send a comp of something and I'm like, I already know I need to like rotate the Z like 7 degrees. But I'm like, oh, like he's not going to notice it. I'll just like do that before I send the file out. And then like he catches it. And I'm like, this is why I like will do 1,000 versions of something because like I know that I'm putting that work in, but it's going to be noticed. But I mean, the G thing is funny because like I had to Google who he was the first time they hit me up. I remember like Googling G-Eazy. I was like, all right, word. And then a couple of years later, I was like with him at Lollapalooza and he played right before J. Cole, 70,000 people crowd. Most insane thing ever. We go back to like the green room after and he's just like talking to shit, feeling like Elvis. And I was like, bro, we're not to Google you. Like that's just crazy.
I mean, it happens. It happens that way. I'm sure.
I just feel like I've gotten blessed in like to find artists I like early in their career and like use that instead of like going just straight always to the established artists, like finding the new ones and like using my talent to help them like build a foundation across. And then you did like
you did some artwork for Kehlani too, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done her first 3 albums.
Yeah.
But that's like with all my homies from my group chat, one of them I went to academy with, like, so it's just like you're saying, it's like doing things together. Like my favorite things I've done have always been with people together. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. You were trying to recollect if Adidas was after Nike, but kind of talk about your time at Adidas.
I interned at Nike one summer, but I was trying to remember if that was before I interned at Def Jam or after.
Yeah.
I don't remember still. But whatever, I graduated. And then, I just went to go work at Adidas in Portland. And first project out the gate I started, and it was like McDonald's All-American uniforms. Okay, sick. The things I remember that watching the game all the time. Now I got one framed in the crib. Looks like I played.
And I think one time we were talking. You told me you were working on I think Harden's shoe.
Oh yeah, I did James Harden's logo and branding that's on like all his shoes ever. Which is crazy because like
dope.
One of my I don't really have a lot of like design goals. Like I never really like I'm trying like with the I just want to make things like and whatever if it's on cool things and cool. But one of the things I always wanted to do was like design a signature logo for athlete.
That's when he was like taking off too, right? Like
that's like
fresh with the Rockets in the beginning. Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, that's my goal is to do a sports like icons logo that's on their shoe. And then like second project out of college, knocked down that. And
I remember that.
Cool, I'm gonna retire and. Like I was like, damn, what do I do? I like literally I've worked at Nike, Adidas. I did a logo. I got album covers.
How was
and
was that because we did one of these maybe a couple weeks ago about sneakers. Mm-hmm. Was Yeezy at Adidas at that time? What year was
the first Yeezy shoe came out? Like right when I started. I remember like my second week they had like the Yeezy raffle for the Turtle Doves.
Okay.
I was glad I had an opportunity to interact with him like a couple of times, like in the course of working at Adidas. It was like kind of surreal, but like it was also just like he's just Kanye. Like the point of the meetings was cool because you weren't like talking to him as Kanye. You were just like you're talking to him as somebody like making product and is creating it and being able to just like talk to him one-to-one. And he's like, sick.
Yeah, how was that? Talking about his shoes one-to-one, you know, working on that.
Was the shoes, it's just more just like the process and creativity in general. But even like his eye for detail, I remember like I had my girl in and he like was like, oh, like I like your girl, and he like smiled and like showed me his and just like the little like just like some funny shit. But like it's like really like I was like, damn, like he's really paying attention and engaged with like the people he's engaged with to notice that. And I was like, that's tight because like I've hung around with so many of these artists that are like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And like they're space brained and like he's definitely space brained, but like was also present. It was like, I don't know, it was like a really interesting experience.
I think that's a characteristic of exceptional creators. They pay very close attention to details about everything that they're involved with. You know, because their mind is always thinking creatively. So they're noticing the details that people even put into their effort. I mean, the effort they put into the outfits or their appearance, that's part of the, creative.
The little things.
Like the little things, the whole process. But what do you think of the process of his shoes now, where it kind of started since you were there at the beginning? And when I know you left Adidas, but I mean, he's got an abundance of models, an abundance of shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's like really cool. I mean, I think it's like one of the things that's working best for the brand right now. I just like that there's not really like this fear of like making something ugly, which I think is like holds a lot of people back because you're afraid of making ugly things. And like he doesn't worry about that. He just makes things that like you might think are ugly. That's fine, but he doesn't care. Like he's just trying to provoke a thing. And I think there's something like really, really cool about that of like how much can you like, it's just like this like irreverence. Like he
does a lot of new shit.
Even in the way he puts like his music, in the way he records the album, like everything is about like process.
Yeah, like I think for him, because he always tries to bring something that's either fresh or new, people will always like even what do they call like the foam runners or something? That's like a weird looking shoe to me. But once it's now in your everyday life and it's there, you can kind of have a new perspective. And you're kind of like, oh, I like those, you know? So like I think that's why he's so successful, because he's not afraid to present something fresh to a market and then let people.
If you don't like what he makes, and I think that's like something that a lot of people could learn from.
Yeah, I think one thing that he does,
he likes it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's something about leaning into something that hasn't been done before, or nobody's experienced, or makes everyone seem like or feel like, hey, this is different. I think that's kind of what you want to accomplish when it comes to anything. Product based when you're creating, because that's how you separate it. Like you said, once it becomes a part of your everyday, visual life, then you're like, oh, this is cool. But you don't know that until it does that part. So you don't want to create something that you've already done.
Off guard, or how can you like push the back? Like Alex,
if it's the same thing.
The EP cover we just did for him, like the whole sound of like the music he makes, like we call it horny pop, because it's like pop, but it's like I'll like ask for beats and it'll be like
horny pop.
Yeah. So I'll be like, yo, like I want an Ariana Grande Usher type beat, but with like a Pusha T bass line. No trap drums, but just those 808s. And so it's just like this crazy sounding shit. But like you listen to the music and you're like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to describe it. And so then like being able to lean into it like that, or like for the album cover, I like had this crazy concept. I was like, I saw this like old magazine from like this old photo from this gay magazine editorial. These like guys making out. And I was like, yo, dude, I was like, what if you make out with yourself on the cover? And some shit, and it's like so provoking. People see it and like, is it two guys making out? And it's like, nah, it's just like me and me. But like people are uncomfortable. People don't like it. People are like offended. It's like there's literally nothing wrong with it. But like I'm just trying to see like what we can do to really like get your panties in a bunch.
There's a separating factor there,
And I just want you to feel something, whether you like think it's terrible or great, amazing. But I don't want to leave any room for you to be like, that's cool. Like I don't want something to just be cool. I'd rather be terrible than cool. Because cool is like
no, that's a good point. That's
like
a good
down the highway line.
Because we talked about actually Kanye's last album, and one of the things that I mentioned about it that I felt was like the separating factor is it provokes emotion, and I think any type of creative art is supposed to provoke some type of emotion, whether it's good or bad. If it doesn't, like you said, if it just kind of gives you like, oh, that's cool, then there's nothing, in my opinion, that's really creative about the art, and that's in that aspect. Whether
it can be beautiful, you can enjoy looking at it, but it doesn't mean it's going to last, and it doesn't mean that there's like Like,
it's got to make you feel. It's got to make you feel. It's got to present some type of feeling for you in some form or fashion. Whoever's consuming the art, it's got to move you emotionally in some way for it to, I think, kind of really be a separated piece. So like, I agree. You know, when you say that you just kind of want to do something, and I think just push boundaries when it comes to whether it's visual art, whether it's sonic art, anything that just allows people to feel something.
Yeah, and I think it's just cool, like working across artists like hip hop and rap and pop and all these different things. Is like it gives me different vessels to do different things. Because like with Alex, is very like more not glamorous, but a little bit like shinier and like more pop. And then when I work with this kid Tufi Bino, like I'm in Atlanta in Zone 6 in the trap, like at the house, like chilling, and we're shooting shit and we're like doing stuff there because it's like that's his story and that's what we're telling his story of like from there to how we're growing up, right? So it's like that's not going to work with Alex, but like I'm also not going to go shoot a music video to Texaco with Alex. But like we'll finish a photo shoot with Feet and be like, yo, let's go shoot a video at the gas station. I'll get the hood to pull up. Bet now we have a crazy like it's just like I think everything is like contextual too, and there's something fun about being like somebody described it to me that I'm like more of like a method actor than like a Robert De Niro that like excels at like one role over and over and you play it forever. And like, there's some creatives that are like that and it's amazing, but I like the idea of being able to like be more like, I put myself into the role I'm playing. So if I'm like working with Noah Cyrus, then I'm like getting into that headspace with her. And if I'm working with Feet, then I'm doing stuff with him, or like I'm working on Snot's album. So I guess it's rap, but like his approach is different. So I'm going to like put myself in that headspace and being able to just sort of like take my own, not taste out of it too a little bit, but take my own like perspective out of it right away and put myself in their shoes and try and create from like their point of view and bringing myself into it is so much more fun than trying to just like be really good at one thing and do that over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess cool for a minute, but like then what?
Yeah, that's dope. It's almost like you kind of take the approach of like a coach trying to coach a kid and get the best out of their talent. You're willing to, you have the knowledge you have, but you're willing to kind of like work with what makes them great, as opposed to take what you know makes you great and try to throw that on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like everyone has a different story to tell, and there's different things that need to be highlighted. And sometimes it does allow for me to be more creative on the design side. And other times it's more about like it's photographic because it's telling their story and it's less design but more conceptual. And I think they're just fun to, like I said, to have the balance, and it just allows you to. It's the same reason like why you guys enjoy to like make things in different genres, because like you're stuck making things in one genre the whole time. It's like just boring.
Yeah, it's like boring.
That's something with like that kid Alex's EP. Like the main producers on it, like were mainly hip hop producers that had never done pop music before, and I was like, well, you go crazy, but like no one's just ever asked you to make another genre before, so like they haven't. So this kid 1050 that does like all the Will Got It stuff, Young Maul, like. He has that tag 1050, I love you. Like you've heard it. But then I'm like, nah, make pop beats. And he sends me the beat and I'm like, this shit's hard. Like, then like your drums are crazy. You just have never like thought about it from different sounds because you're just like really good in your lane. Let me pull it out of you. We get the beat, we cut to it. Like, this is hard. He's super tight, has no ego. And we're like, yo, like, I'm like, are you down to like get a couple producers on this? Like, let's build this out. And really like, that are like, now I want to bring in a pop producer and like, tweak the arrangement, really bring some keys and do things to like really like bring that body to it. But even that goes back to that idea of like no ego and like pushing people to act outside of their comfort zones. Like, all right, bro, like I know you can do it even if you've never done it before, but I know you have the arm. So like,
yep,
go get in right field, bro.
Absolutely,
go get it done.
Yeah, I think again that just goes back to the creative understanding the whole process of multiple perspectives. You want to involve people who have any type of creative bone in them.
Yeah, and I just want to push
so you can apply
creatives to like do new things and like pull the most out of them, whether they're like a producer or director or whatever. Like I want to make yourself uncomfortable because that's how we're gonna get the best stuff out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then you're able to go from there and like get back to be comfortable, but like you got to get outside of it first, feel all that, and then like all right, what are we really going to do? Does it make sense to go crazy on this, or should we cut back? Like, and that's where the experience comes into play, and the like my own personal taste and style, and that red thread that can like stay true of my work across like all the different genres and styles. And that's why they like come to me. But it doesn't mean that it's just you're getting like one thing that looks the same for everybody.
Okay.
I'm like my approach to shit.
I don't know. Go ahead. Real quick. I totally feel that. That's kind of like our journey with our own music. We started out really wanting to work with others, but like think in the light of, oh, we need to produce something that someone else likes instead of pleasing ourselves for like what we like. And then just over the last few years and wanting to be more hands-on with the whole process with like producing, engineering, mixing, like everything, us.
Right.
It just like now for me, when I go to make something, I'm like, let an A&R or let someone try to tell me this shit ain't hot. I'll give you like 2 middle fingers. Like I like the Kanye idea, you know, it's like you like what you like. And like, you're not thinking in that headspace of I need to please someone. It's like, no, I like this. I'm gonna make it this way because I like it. And then if I am collaborating with someone like yourself who has that vision, like a linear vision, like macro vision, you could be like, oh, well, you don't need to do that. That's too much. And I could be like, oh yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's cool, but
it's also not just like, I don't like it. It's like, well, like this, or like, and like, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with me. Here's just my 2 cents, like with the perspective and some like critique on the perspective of like why I would even say that like blah, 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 blah.
Honestly, like that's what I get excited for us when we do stuff musically now is more so we're doing it because we like it or we want to do it. We're not even thinking about another person.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, if we put this out and we're the only 2 people to listen to it, like, yeah, that's not the goal, but like, hey man, we took time, made a project, executed it with the ideas we had and put it out. And we like it, and that matters. You know what I mean? I think that's very important. And that's like kind of where our headspace is now for creating is like, you know, please your creative self, you know?
Yeah, because I just recall.
Thing. Like,
I recall this
first.
When did we put that PPO project out? 2019. That whole process when we were heavily on the East Coast and working out of a studio in Jersey, and we were making records. And I remember being in a space where we were creating records where essentially we either produced or wrote for other people in a sense like, hey, so-and-so should do this, send it to them, or so-and-so should do that, send it to them. And then we were like, hey, we're just going to do it. But we were creating music really that like, we might've been like, hey, this is cool. We like it. We listen to it ourselves. But it wasn't necessarily with the intent of, is this what we authentically like? Mm-hmm. Or is it just what we think other people would like? And when you create from a space of like, what do you think other people would like? I really think you're boxed in and confined. Yeah, you don't have the broad range of creativity because you're trying to please something that you know, it's just not, it's not organic.
Yeah. Like if you were to ask me, oh, when do you think like your artist career like started just as like creating art? I would probably say like 2019, 2020. Even though you know me personally, I was making shit since like 2008. Like over a decade, but because the like the mental space and like the heart behind it was more for me than opposed to like someone else. Now that means like obviously if you were like, oh, send us like some tracks or produce for this artist, you know, it's a little different headspace, but we'll still take that approach of, well, we're gonna make what we like and then cater it to that artist, as opposed to like literally we used to be like, oh, we want to send shit to Ty Dolla $ign, let's make it all sound like him, or like we want to do this to so and so, and we were just always we're trying to basically be like industry producers instead of being like producers. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a vision that kind of gets cloudy a lot because you think when you started out, like you said, you know, when we first started out this almost 10 plus years ago, you think you have to do what's already being done to become a part of it. And really the approach has to be, you have to do something that's just unique to yourself to become a part of what's already happening, I think. That's a concept that kind of gets lost, I think, for a lot of creatives.
Well, I think it's just so easy to want to compare to because of like the day and age we're in and how easy it is to see what everyone else is doing.
Very true. Very true.
I deleted Instagram a couple weeks ago and like I still have it to like, that's why like I missed you the first day because I responded to you and I just wasn't on Instagram to like follow up and I was like, oh shit. But like I'll like get on there and post something so that like people can see my work and like it still is like a source of like my business. But I'm just like, I'm so over the like this.
The keep up.
It's just hours of time wasted. But I'd rather just be daydreaming or like doing something like this.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Absolutely.
Though. I mean, you imagine times where you couldn't keep up with what other artists were doing daily. Yeah. That allowed your own creativity to be kind of more free because you didn't know, like, oh, so and so.
You're not trying to keep up.
This. I'm not gonna go and try to make a record like that or produce something like that or write something like that because I just saw so and so did it. You're gonna kind of approach everything that you do with just your own thoughts because
you're spending more time living your life and seeing the things you want to see, not just like what like you're being force fed by some algorithm.
I think it still happens like Jared just said, for us, it was probably 2020 when I'd say it started, because it's a concept that you grasp where you just are, you're more in tune with yourself. And so all creators should find that point at some point, I think. Absolutely.
I think it says it's almost done. But I appreciate you guys talking and stuff. Sorry, it's been a little
while. We'll hop back on here and finish it up, because about maybe 5 more minutes. If it gets cut off in a second, I don't know. But I had a question to wrap, because we do a little segment on here called Die on a Hill. And it's a what do you want to call it? It's a moral, a principle, or anything that you would take to your grave, no matter the circumstances. So from a creative standpoint, what would you tell yourself in 2011 if you had a chance to talk to yourself in 2011, talking to yourself right now? What would you tell them that? All right, little technical difficulties, but what would you tell yourself? What is it, 2021? So 10 years ago, yourself in the present day, talking to yourself 10 years ago, what would you make sure that they took to the grave with them? What hill would you tell them to die on?
Like in regards to creativity?
When it comes to creativity from all aspects, that's from, artwork, creative artwork, music, anything creative, is from just your perspective as a creative to yourself 10 years ago.
It's a great question.
It's a pretty in-depth question. But we were talking about it.
Take a minute.
We were roommates in 2011. So we're talking 10 years ago. Like, I've known you for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
How much you've grown as just a person compared to you were 10 years ago. So yourself now, what would you say to that person 10 years ago, considering all the things you've experienced? What would you want that person 10 years ago to kind of, really grasp and hold on to as a principle that they should live by?
Just that, I think something that I've always been proud of, and sometimes I've always been so myself, unapologetically, whether that means I'm the only one on the team wearing stirrups when everyone has their pants down, or having 4 gloves and be I pitched shitty with this one today, let me change. That was me, right? I embraced all my oddities and all the little weird things. Yep. And that's same with creative too. And that's the same with whatever. And just I don't think I was ever really afraid to be myself, but just telling myself that trust yourself, and you are who you are for a reason, and you are a fucking oddball, and that's fine. And that's why it works. And it doesn't matter that you feel out of place sometimes, or you don't feel like the other people, because the great ones don't. So
I like that. Yeah.
That's actually great advice. Yeah.
Really good advice.
Yeah.
I feel it's so easy, especially during those years, to lose yourself in your environments with the people around you. And I think it's something that I was always so strong. Even when I was in college, right, not drinking, not smoking, was never I'm morally against. It just was I just was on my own. I was just on my own time. I just was not worried about that.
And then 5 years ago, I'm pretty sure he was Steph, all I drink is champagne now. Champagne and orange juice. Something there was
then I'm just drinking straight.
champagne.
I was just getting bottles of Bel Air sent to me daily. Yeah. Not daily. I feel cases.
Yeah, no, I feel like
now be blowing pounds.
I always hate to Sam from college. I was geez, what is this kid doing? Oh no.
Nah, this boy lit now. I'm balling. But I was the glow up, not the coolest kid in high school, not the coolest kid in college. But after college, let's go.
Like you said, that's some great advice, because I think it's very, very, very easy.
I never used high school or college as I didn't ever want to be the coolest in those things, right?
That's
they
were
a mission to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get lost in that, in that thought that I gotta be this, or the word lit, I gotta be that now in 16, 17 in high school, or 20, 21 in college. And really, you haven't even lived half your life. You have more life to live after those points. And that's really the point where you kind of want to reach your prime of your life. And I think understanding that you're still in the early stages of your process is just development of being who you are when you're in high school and in college is a very, very vital, key for that person's development. So that's some great advice that anybody at 19, 20, 21 should hold on to and live by, regardless of what, even if they're not in any form of creativity,
it's just standing your ground for that's what allows you to people not to walk on you, or to not do that. It's bro, this is who I am.
Know who you
got
are.
A problem with that? Cool. All right, bro.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, it is great advice, because I'm 32 And I know people my age that don't know who they are, man. They don't know they don't know why they like the things they like. They don't understand their influences. And it's just like, that's very important. That you got to know yourself, man. You walk in yourself every day. So why don't you take the time to get to know yourself? You know what I mean?
And understanding your influence is the key, because like, I'm sure there's things you do that you can explain to someone why you do them. And that's just simply understanding your influence. As you do things and you have no thorough explanation for why you're doing them, and you kind of fabricate that explanation to think you know, then you don't really know who you are, because you're just kind of blindly, you're just doing things just to be doing them because you think that's what you're supposed to do. You don't even know if that's true to who you are.
And I think the crazy thing is people don't realize that you can know exactly who you are and still have no idea what the fuck you're doing every day. Like those are not one and the same. Like you can be so sure who you are and still not know, like, what am I doing with life, or what am I doing? Like, I know I'm going to be fine. I'm going to figure it out because I'm me. But like,
that's awesome. That's awesome comment, because you're like, oh, I know at the end of the day, all bets are on me. I know I'm going to find a way.
Exactly.
That's you have an ultimate belief in yourself. And that a lot of people don't have that. They don't believe in themselves. That's why they could look at you and be like, oh man, like they could be like, damn, I can't believe you did all those things. And you're like, well, that's because I believe in myself to take those chances where they might be too scared to just even like start a podcast or like, do something small. You know what I mean? Because they don't think they're good enough. But the fact
like be in a studio and speak up.
Yeah.
Like I don't like you, and even though I'm the manager, even though this like it's still a lot to like speak up in a room where like I couldn't actively contribute in a way where they're like, yeah, if you want to say something, if you want to do something, I'm like, well, I can't sing and I can't do whatever, but yeah, it's like speaking up.
It is a scary. It's not a easy space to navigate. It's very scary because although all bets might be on yourself, some people just don't want to embrace that because there's no reassurance.
There's nothing in it for them though.
Yeah,
and so they're like, all right, but like,
well, I don't know if it's going to be okay. So I know that if I just go do this, like everybody else, I'll be okay. And I think sometimes people find more comfort in that. But
do you want to like live a comfortable life, or do you want to be fulfilled?
From a creative standpoint, you want fulfillment. And so
because I could go make 6 figures at the agency, live an easy ass life, be chilling. I'd rather be stressed. But I'm going to go take a month off and also go clear 40 in a month and be like, all right, well, I'm not working next month, so I just got a salary.
Yeah.
But that month was hell, and I was on design benders the whole time. But
how much happier are you with yourself?
Yeah, because like now I'm chilling for a month, like doing whatever I want. Like, and that's how I choose to live. I don't need you to want to live that way or to understand it. Like I wake up at noon, I go to sleep at 4 a.m. every day. I get that that's not like a normal thing. And you think it's crazy, but like it's my normal. And like, okay, like I don't need you to understand it. Like your opinion of my day to day does not matter.
Yeah, see, that's an individual perspective that everybody's going to understand, and that's just fantastic. So I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys. I think it's my second podcast ever.
Yeah,
hey, Jared, you got to come up to the city.
What? Yeah, I mean, shit. I got to get some time. What? Yeah, we'll figure something out. I mean, I got your contacts, so we'll figure something out.
So we're good, JetBlue.
I do. I'm still riding around, living lavish.
Getting it.
I'm still maneuvering. But
I always joke with my dad. I went from standby to like platinum medallion.
Hey, honestly, dude, fuck standby. I'd rather have a confirmed seat every time.
Facts. I'm writing all this shit off.
Fuck that.
That's so. I don't even. When's the last time I used one in the past? Because I just like, yo, I'm gonna just buy a flight because I know I'm.
Like in college, it was perfect because I was down to get it, killing time. But like now, at this point where I'm like, cool, I can go buy a buddy pass from somebody for 5 bands.
Nah, man.
Or like I'd rather just spend the 5 bands.
Yeah.
On actual
I want to know I'm getting
plus more, and it's a write off, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Well. Hey, this was awesome, dude. Love it.
It was good to catch up.
Joining us,
you guys.
Yeah,
Steph, I texted you the link to Alex's EP.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to now.
If not, send it to me now.
Yeah, definitely check that out. You guys should check out. You can just send it to Jay.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
But no, here's you guys. So I was like, Jay, put some shit up for him. Would love to like find a way to connect this all. I mean, I know you guys doing your artist thing, but let's get these bags.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely connect in person. Especially with people I know, I like to work with them in person. So if we can, we'll definitely.
Also, I'm just and I'm like, my thing too is like, I'm always in like rooms with other people too. So I'll just be like, let me get packs and like, bro, I placed 4 beats in one day. I like went to the studio for some of these other packs. This guy kid 2 feet got the shit. He heard one song and I was like, no, go back. And he's like, oh, it won't fit for him. I was like, no, go back though. Fucking now it's on the Alex EP. That one plus 3. And I was like, he's like, damn, bro, you really like, I was like, I'm telling you guys, like, I hear it.
That's something, that's something we haven't done in maybe 2 years since we started kind of creating. We haven't really sent anybody anything. We've only been
we've been holding on to our shit.
Which I did too.
We got some secret sauce.
Anybody.
But it's always just like my thing with, it's fun. Like I'd rather get my friends and be like, look, I don't need you guys to send A&R packs out, but like I'm in the rooms. They give me the aux at this point, so I'm like, let me just go
we will definitely start dropping some stuff off into your email.
I've been getting an itch to want to make like beats again and stuff. Trust me, I've been like wanting to be like, I kind of want. I've been listening to J. Cole. Like, I kind of want to like that. You know what I mean? I want to feel like I'm in college again. You know,
bro. The crazy thing, I don't know if I told you guys, like, so when I like went to Adidas after, like DJ Clark Kent started like consulting at the thing, right? And then just like became my big homie. I would sit next to him every day. I would play him records. I would like be in the corner, like, and like I would find these new records and I would turn it up and like see if he would turn around and catch his attention. And it was just like the craziest thing to be able to talk to this guy that literally like found Jay-Z and like was like running Def Jam and like all of these stories and has like truly has an ear. And like, bro, he came back with the fucking I Love It song with Pump and Kanye. He came back from LA. He's like, bro, I just did this session with Kanye and this little pumpkin came in. I don't know. I feel bad. He played me this shit. He's like, what do you think about this? I was like, honestly, bro, I think Pump is corny. I was like, this shit is so hard. He's like, really? And I was like, yes. And then the shit went number 1. And it was just like so crazy to like use it on a sneaker level, but being able to just sit there with him and like it just having these people that I like trust so much with their like ear or whatever, and like, yeah, dude, and like I'm like, that's like. This guy's built his legacy off of like his musical prowess, and I'd be like, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not. It's like reassuring to know like I'm not crazy. Because like sometimes, especially when it's like a field you're not in, right? Like, I don't make music, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually crazy or if I think I hear things. Because I also know there's things I don't hear. That other people are talking about. I'm like, bro, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. The low end on what, like, I missed that. But so it's just like such a funny thing, and it's like, yeah, man, just being able to be surrounded by people like that when you're curious. As a young person. That's the thing is when you're curious, you just got to find people around. Brian Shang, when I was in academy, I was like, oh, Zoe, your dad, and then like there's a brand, and now I like did all that shit with Marshawn and Meek, and like now I like still with him and do all that. Like, and it's just like, it just builds, and it's just like, damn, that's fun.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, this is great. We'll do it. We'll definitely do it again. We'll definitely.
I'll just like catch up and I'm gonna just like FaceTime you guys and catch up and shit.
We actually,
for sure.
You know what we'll have to do is because we're rapping with Houston on Sunday.
Oh,
we'll have to get the whole. We'll have to get the whole.
We should get the whole game
at one time.
Dude, I'm telling you, real quick, because I know we gotta end this, but I'm in a IG group with like Mexicano, Sparrow, BK, and I think Andy. And dude, the shit we be sending each other, dude. I'm telling you, there's things. You would think we're still in like 2010, 11, dude. Like we're still at Ken's Waffle House, man. Like
I was talking to somebody the other day about gold, like the diner, like that spot that Meg and I lived in on Leavenworth. And so a little like old Chinese guy that cooked the eggs and bacon every day. And I was talking to somebody because they lived on the other corner across the other coffee shop that was like, I was like, bro, that shit is like,
yeah.
Also, we were in this San Francisco at the perfect time, dude.
Yep. Like we talked about, it was HBK, like a transitional period.
G-Eazy, all those guys, like
starting off.
All the artists, Aaron Kai, Reggie Sylvester. Now my Reggie painting, so done. Shout out to Sutter Street, baby.
Legend.
Amber Asali, bro, like the biggest photographer in the world. Not actually, but just shooting the.
And the one kid, what's the one kid's name? It was like Tokyo 24 or something.
Torino.
Jared Lee.
Right? But what's it? I mean, he's like
Duckworth.
Duckworth.
Oh, Duckworth.
Yeah. He's like doing shit now too, and we used to party with him, dude. Like,
that's what I'm saying, bro. All of just like
everyone's just it's crazy, dude. What a time!
Yeah.
It was like
what a time. Great time.
All those 3:30 rich parties David Ali throws, and now he matches Kehlani, T Grizzly, like all those. Nuts, but
great time. So,
all right, guys, I appreciate you. It's good to chat.
Yeah, bro.
Peace.
Peace.
Why can't we be friends?